Good evening, everyone. I want to begin by acknowledging something that we often forget in our daily lives, the power of restraint. The strength found in stepping back and holding silence. It's something we rarely give credit to. We're taught from a young age to speak up, to stand tall, to assert ourselves, to push forward, and to fight for our place in the world. But sometimes real strength lies in stepping back and letting things unfold in their own time. True strength often lies in stepping back and holding silence, not always in action. In our fast-paced world, we are constantly encouraged to speak up, stand out, and act with urgency. We are taught that success is determined by how loudly we speak, how quickly we move, and how visibly we perform. But this belief often obscures the deeper, more subtle forms of power that come from restraint. There is a quiet strength that arises when we choose not to immediately react, when we allow ourselves the space to observe, reflect, and wait. This strength is often more effective and enduring than the short bursts of energy we expend in our attempts to control everything around us. The act of stepping back is often seen as weakness or indecision, but it is anything but. It requires a great deal of inner strength to resist the urge to jump in and try to fix control or manipulate the situation. In moments of tension or challenge, our natural instinct is to engage, to do something, to respond. But what if the most powerful action we can take is not to react at all? What if the most powerful thing we can do is to trust the unfolding of events and allow others to come to us, or to allow a situation to reveal itself more fully before we make a move? This kind of restraint doesn't come from a place of fear or avoidance. It comes from deep confidence and trust in the process of life. When we step back, we also create space for others to step forward. Often we are so caught up in trying to make our voices heard that we don't recognize that others need the opportunity to express themselves as well. By holding back, we allow others to step into their own power, to find their voice, and to contribute in their own way. This not only empowers them, but also builds a deeper sense of connection and collaboration. Stepping back doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. It means giving others the chance to contribute their own perspectives and strengths, which can ultimately lead to a richer, more diverse outcome. In leadership, we often see this dynamic in play. Leaders who constantly push, assert themselves, and try to control every aspect of a situation may find that their influence begins to diminish. When everything revolves around one person's vision or voice, it can feel suffocating to others. But when a leader steps back, listens, and allows space for others to contribute, it fosters a culture of mutual respect and shared ownership. This approach allows others to feel seen and heard, which in turn strengthens their commitment to the collective goal. Leadership, then, is not about constant action, but about knowing when to step back, when to listen, and when to trust others to lead in their own way. The power of stepping back is also deeply connected to our emotional intelligence. It requires a level of self-awareness and self-control to resist the urge to jump into a situation. When we step back, we allow ourselves to pause, to take a moment to breathe, to check in with ourselves, and to assess our emotional responses before acting. This pause is often enough to shift our perspective and give us clarity on the best course of action. Instead of reacting impulsively, we respond thoughtfully with greater consideration for the broader context and the people involved. This kind of emotional intelligence is often more effective than the quick, knee-jerk reactions that we are tempted to make when we feel pressured to act. Moreover, by stepping back and holding silence, we also allow ourselves to become more attuned to our own inner wisdom. Often, we overlook the wisdom that resides within us because we are too busy seeking answers from external sources or reacting to the noise around us. When we create the space to step back and be silent, we reconnect with that inner voice. We gain access to insights and solutions that we might have missed in the rush of everyday life. It is in the stillness that we often find the clearest answers, the deepest insights, and the most profound guidance. Stepping back isn't a passive act, it's an active choice to prioritize clarity and wisdom over speed and noise. In a world that demands constant motion and visibility, choosing to step back can feel counterintuitive. But the truth is that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is to be still, to observe, and to trust that things will unfold in their own time. By resisting the pressure to always be in motion, we allow ourselves to conserve our energy, to act with intention, and to influence outcomes in ways that go far beyond what we could achieve by constantly striving for attention or control. Real leadership and influence come from allowing space for things to unfold naturally. In our culture, there is often a tendency to view leadership as a constant, active pursuit, a drive to steer, to control, and to shape the world around us. We are taught that the strongest leaders are those who assert themselves, who dominate discussions, who set a clear and unwavering direction. While these qualities have their place, true leadership is not about always being the loudest or most visible person in the room. It's about knowing when to step back, to trust others, and to let things develop without interference. When we are too focused on controlling every outcome, we miss out on the beauty and richness that can come from allowing situations to unfold organically. We may inadvertently limit creativity, collaboration, and growth by imposing our own vision too rigidly on a situation. Leadership is not about making every decision, but about creating an environment where others feel empowered to make their own decisions, to contribute their unique perspectives, and to take ownership of their roles. It is about cultivating a space where people can thrive on their own terms, supported by guidance, but not controlled by it. Allowing space for things to unfold means trusting the process. It means recognizing that not everything can or should be rushed. There are times when the best way to lead is to take a step back and let others come to their own conclusions, make their own mistakes, and experience their own growth. By doing so, you foster an environment where people feel trusted, respected, and supported. They no longer rely on you to have all the answers, but on their own ability to problem solve, adapt, and learn. This is where true leadership takes root, not in the constant need to dictate, but in the quiet strength of knowing when to step away and let the team lead itself. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility. It doesn't mean relinquishing control in a way that leads to chaos or confusion. Instead, it means creating an atmosphere of collaboration and mutual respect where leadership is shared and people are given the space to step up. This approach encourages ownership, accountability, and innovation. When people feel they have the autonomy to make decisions and chart their own course, they are more likely to take initiative and feel a deeper sense of commitment to the shared vision. Moreover, this kind of leadership promotes patience, and patience is a vital, often overlooked aspect of influence. We live in a world that values speed, quick decisions, fast results, and immediate rewards. But the most meaningful and lasting changes rarely happen in an instant. They take time. When we allow things to unfold naturally, we open ourselves to the possibility that things will take longer than expected. But they will also unfold in ways that we might not have anticipated. We may discover solutions that are more creative, more sustainable, and more aligned with the needs of the people involved. Sometimes the best way to influence outcomes is to step back and give the process the time and space it needs to breathe. This kind of leadership also requires emotional intelligence. It involves recognizing when others are ready to take on more responsibility, when they are ready to lead, and when they need to be given space to grow. It's about reading the room, understanding the needs of the group, and knowing when to intervene and when to let things play out on their own. Emotional intelligence is not just about managing your own emotions, it's about understanding how to respond to the emotions of others and creating an environment where everyone feels heard, valued, and supported. This is the foundation of leadership that does not seek to control, but to guide with empathy and wisdom. Trusting that things will unfold naturally also requires a certain level of humility. It involves letting go of the desire to always be in the spotlight and recognizing that others have just as much to offer. When we allow others the space to lead, we are not diminishing our own worth or influence. Instead, we are creating an environment where everyone can shine, where leadership is not concentrated in one individual, but spread throughout the team. True leadership is not about clinging to power, but about sharing it and watching others rise to the occasion. This kind of leadership also nurtures a sense of belonging. When people feel that their contributions matter, when they feel trusted to make decisions and take initiative, they develop a sense of ownership and pride in the collective mission. They feel that their work is meaningful and that they are part of something bigger than themselves. This sense of belonging is one of the most powerful motivators for personal and collective growth. It is the key to building resilient, adaptive teams that can thrive in the face of uncertainty and change. True influence comes from this quiet, confident approach. It comes not from force, but from the ability to trust, to step back, and to allow others to find their own way. The ability to guide without controlling, to support without overshadowing, is a hallmark of leadership that is not only effective, but also deeply human. Choosing silence takes courage and grounded self-assurance, not weakness. In a world that thrives on constant chatter, noise, and the pressure to always be on, silence is often misunderstood. It's seen as something to be avoided, something uncomfortable, or even a sign of insecurity. We're told that silence is an absence, a gap to be filled with words, actions, or distractions. But in reality, silence can be one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal. It's not an absence, it's a presence. It's a choice to be still, to pause, and to allow things to unfold without forcing them. Choosing silence is not about retreating from the world or disengaging from the conversation. It's about having the self-assurance to trust that not every moment requires an immediate response. In many situations, the instinct is to fill the silence, to immediately offer an answer, a solution, or an opinion. We fear that if we don't speak, we will be overlooked or seen as irrelevant. But often, the most impactful moments come when we choose not to speak. Silence doesn't mean we have nothing to offer. It means that we are comfortable enough in ourselves to not feel the need to fill every void with words. This is not a passive stance, but an active choice to observe, listen, and reflect. Silence takes courage because it requires us to be comfortable with uncertainty. In a conversation, when we refrain from speaking, we allow space for others to step in, to express themselves, to offer their thoughts. It can feel uncomfortable at first, particularly if we are used to being the one to drive the discussion. But by remaining silent, we create an opportunity for others to be heard, to feel seen, and to share their perspectives. This allows for a more balanced exchange where everyone feels valued, not just the loudest or most dominant voice. Silence is an invitation for others to contribute, and in doing so, it can foster a deeper connection and understanding. It also takes courage to sit in the discomfort of silence and allow others to process, to think, and to speak at their own pace without rushing to fill the space with our own ideas. Choosing silence also requires self-assurance because it shows that we trust the moment. We trust that if something is truly important, it will be addressed. We trust that we do not need to constantly assert our presence to be relevant or impactful. Instead of pushing our own agenda or seeking validation, we can sit back and observe how things naturally unfold. This self-assurance allows us to act with greater precision when we do choose to speak or engage. We no longer feel compelled to fill every silence with noise because we understand that sometimes the most effective action is inaction. Silence allows us to create more thoughtful responses, ones that are deliberate, informed, and considered. It enables us to listen fully before making judgments or offering solutions, ensuring that our contributions are more meaningful. The power of silence also lies in its ability to create space for reflection. In a world that values speed and efficiency, it can be easy to overlook the importance of taking a pause. But silence provides the opportunity for reflection and introspection. When we choose to be quiet, we give ourselves permission to process our thoughts and emotions. In this space, we can gain clarity, make better decisions, and see the situation more clearly. In contrast, when we are constantly speaking, reacting, or filling the air with noise, we lose the opportunity to check in with ourselves and to discern what is truly important. Silence allows us to return to our own center, to recalibrate, and to move forward from a place of greater awareness and wisdom. Silence also has the power to command attention and respect. In a world where everyone is clamoring for attention, those who can remain silent and composed are often the ones who end up commanding the most respect. When we are able to sit back, listen, and choose our words carefully, we convey a sense of confidence that we do not need to compete for attention. We trust that when we do speak, our words will carry weight. This level of confidence is rooted in a deep understanding of our own value and self-worth. We don't need to shout to be heard, and we don't need to fill the air with constant chatter to be seen. The ability to remain silent in the right moments demonstrates a quiet but powerful form of leadership and influence. Furthermore, silence cultivates patience. In today's world, patience is in short supply. We are conditioned to expect immediate results, instant gratification, and rapid responses. But silence requires us to slow down, to allow time for things to unfold and for others to contribute. It teaches us to be patient with ourselves and with others, to resist the urge to rush to conclusions or jump to action. This patience fosters deeper, more meaningful connections and allows for a more thoughtful and considered approach to life's challenges. Silence is not a void to be feared. It's a space to be filled with intention. It's a powerful tool that requires courage, self-assurance, and the willingness to step back and trust the process. In a world that often prizes noise and speed, silence stands as a reminder that the most powerful presence is often the quietest one. Stepping back doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. It means giving others the chance to step into their own power, to find their voice, and to contribute in their own way. In many situations, whether in a workplace, a community, or even in personal relationships, we often feel the need to take charge, to assert our presence, and to make our voices heard. This can stem from a desire to help, to fix, or to guide, but sometimes in our efforts to do so, we inadvertently diminish the opportunities for others to rise. We may feel that if we aren't actively involved or leading the charge, things won't move forward. However, there is incredible power in stepping back and letting others step up. By giving them the space to contribute, we create an environment where they can thrive, grow, and ultimately take ownership of their own journey. When we step back, we allow others to discover their strengths. In the absence of constant guidance or direction, individuals are forced to find solutions on their own to figure out how they can contribute in meaningful ways. This process is vital for personal growth. When people are given the autonomy to make decisions, to experiment, and to navigate challenges independently, they build confidence in their abilities. Instead of always being told what to do, they learn to trust their judgment and take responsibility for their actions. This creates a sense of ownership and accountability that is crucial for their development and success. As they rise to meet challenges, they begin to recognize their own potential, which is far more empowering than any external validation or direction. Allowing others to find their voice also strengthens the collective dynamic. In any group or team, there is a diversity of perspectives, skills, and experiences that each person brings to the table. When we step back, we give them the opportunity to express those perspectives and contribute in ways that we may never have anticipated. Often, the best ideas emerge not from a single dominant voice, but from a collective exchange of ideas. When we hold back, we allow others to step into leadership roles, to offer new solutions, and to collaborate in ways that might not have been possible if we were constantly pushing to lead. This creates a more inclusive and dynamic environment where everyone's contributions are valued and where creativity and innovation can flourish. Stepping back also fosters trust. When we allow others the freedom to step into their own power, we communicate trust in their abilities. It shows that we believe they are capable of handling responsibility, making decisions, and contributing meaningfully to the group or the task at hand. This trust strengthens relationships and builds mutual respect. People are more likely to engage fully and invest themselves in the collective mission when they feel trusted and valued. When others see that you are not trying to control or dominate, but instead allowing them to play their part, they are more likely to feel empowered and motivated to contribute at their highest level. There is also a deep sense of humility in stepping back. It requires us to acknowledge that we are not the only ones with valuable insights or solutions. When we step back, we acknowledge that others have just as much to offer as we do, and that their contributions are just as valuable. This perspective shift is essential for fostering an environment of equality and mutual respect. It is not about diminishing our own value, but about recognizing the inherent worth in others. By giving others the space to step into their own power, we create a culture of shared leadership where everyone feels seen, heard, and respected. Additionally, stepping back doesn't mean we abandon our own sense of purpose or vision. It's not about disengaging or becoming passive. Instead, it's about recognizing the importance of allowing others to take ownership of their own role in the process. It's about understanding that our success is not solely dependent on our own actions, but on the collective effort of everyone involved. When we step back, we create space for others to lead, but we can still provide guidance, support, and encouragement when needed. We don't disappear, we simply allow others to shine, knowing that the collective effort will always be greater than any individual effort. In relationships, whether personal or professional, stepping back can be equally powerful. It's about recognizing that not every situation requires us to step in and solve the problem. Sometimes the best thing we can do is to step aside, listen, and allow others to express themselves and find their own solutions. This approach creates a space for empathy, understanding, and connection, and it strengthens the relationship by showing that we trust the other person to find their own way. Ultimately, stepping back is an act of empowerment. It's about recognizing that we don't need to constantly be at the center of attention or in control of every situation to have influence or impact. By allowing others the opportunity to step into their own power, we create an environment where everyone can thrive. We recognize that leadership is not about taking the lead in every moment, but about fostering a space where others can rise, contribute, and ultimately lead in their own way. In doing so, we not only empower those around us, but also strengthen our own sense of purpose, knowing that we are creating a world where everyone has the chance to step into their fullest potential. Your worth is inherent. You don't have to chase validation or constantly assert your value. In a world that thrives on external recognition and the constant pursuit of approval, it can be easy to lose sight of the truth that our worth is not something that needs to be earned or constantly reaffirmed by others. We live in a society that places great emphasis on external markers of success, titles, accolades, recognition, and often tie our self-worth to these external validations. This creates a cycle where we are always looking outward for affirmation, constantly questioning whether we are enough. But the reality is that your worth is not contingent on these things. It is inherent in who you are, in your actions, and in the quiet ways you make an impact on the world. When we chase external validation, we often place ourselves in a position of constant comparison, measuring our worth against the achievements or opinions of others. This creates a sense of insecurity and instability because validation from others is fleeting. One day you may feel seen and appreciated, and the next you may feel overlooked or dismissed. This constant fluctuation creates an emotional roller coaster where our sense of self is dependent on external forces that are beyond our control. But when we learn to ground our sense of worth within ourselves, we free ourselves from the cycle of dependence and find a deep, unwavering sense of value that doesn't fluctuate based on external circumstances. The first step in recognizing your inherent worth is to shift the focus inward. Instead of constantly looking outside yourself for approval, take the time to reflect on your own values, your own strengths, and the impact you're making. It's easy to become consumed by the praise or criticism of others, but true confidence comes from within. When you know who you are and what you stand for, you no longer need to seek constant validation. You begin to trust your own judgment, your own worth, and the authenticity of your actions. This internal validation is more powerful and enduring than anything that can be given or taken away by others. This shift is not about becoming arrogant or self-centered. Recognizing your inherent worth is not about disregarding the value of others. It is about recognizing that your value is not tied to anyone else's opinion or acknowledgement. It is about knowing that you are enough just as you are without needing to prove yourself. This self-assurance creates a solid foundation on which you can build meaningful relationships, pursue your goals, and contribute to the world without the constant need for external recognition. You become free to show up as your true self, unencumbered by the weight of seeking validation or approval. When we stop chasing external validation, we also stop relying on it to measure our success. Success is no longer about reaching a certain milestone or receiving a specific accolade. It becomes about living in alignment with our values, making decisions that reflect who we truly are, and creating meaningful connections along the way. This mindset shift allows us to measure success on our own terms. It's not about comparing ourselves to others or checking off boxes based on societal expectations. It's about creating a life that feels fulfilling and authentic to us, regardless of what others may think or say. The validation we seek is found in our own sense of purpose and alignment with our deepest values. Moreover, recognizing our inherent worth allows us to show up more fully for others. When we know that our value is not dependent on what others think, we can engage with people from a place of generosity rather than neediness. We are no longer looking for validation in our interactions, but rather seeking to connect, contribute, and uplift those around us. This creates more authentic, genuine relationships where both parties feel valued for who they truly are, not for what they can give or what others may think of them. The beauty of this kind of connection is that fosters mutual respect and understanding, where both individuals can thrive without the pressure of constantly proving their worth. It's important to remember that our worth is not determined by our accomplishments or how others perceive us. It's inherent in the way we show up in the world, in our actions, in the kindness we extend to others, and in the integrity with which we live our lives. Your worth is not something that can be earned or taken away. It is something that exists simply because you are. It is the recognition that you are enough, just as you are, and that your value is not contingent on anyone else's opinion, praise, or judgment. Learning to recognize and embrace your inherent worth is a transformative process. It requires letting go of the need for external validation and trusting that you are enough as you are. When you free yourself from the constant pursuit of approval, you create space for true growth, meaningful connections, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. You are no longer defined by what others think of you, but by your own understanding of who you are and the unique contributions you bring to the world. In doing so, you step into a life that is rich with purpose, authenticity, and the quiet confidence from knowing your worth is not something to be earned, but something that is already within you. The fear of losing control often stems from the belief that our worth and success are directly tied to our ability to manage every aspect of our lives. We live in a society that rewards precision, efficiency, and the illusion of having everything under control. Many of us feel that if we don't maintain tight control over our environments, our relationships, or our work, things will spiral out of hand and we will fail. This fear can be paralyzing, leading us to micromanage situations, avoid uncertainty, and constantly be on guard against any potential chaos. Yet the truth is that control is an illusion, and the more we try to hold on to it, the more we miss out on the opportunities for growth and connection that come from letting go. Letting go of control doesn't mean surrendering responsibility or giving up on goals. It means recognizing that we cannot predict or manage every outcome, and that some of the most valuable experiences in life come from embracing uncertainty. When we allow ourselves to release the need for control, we open up the space for creativity, flexibility, and true connection with others. In our efforts to control everything around us, we often close ourselves off from the world and from the richness of experience that comes from letting things unfold organically. There is beauty in the unpredictable. Life is full of twists and turns, surprises, and moments of uncertainty that we cannot plan for. When we insist on controlling every detail, we shut ourselves off from the possibility of discovery. The most profound moments often occur when we least expect them, when we are not trying to force outcomes or control the narrative. When we let go of the need to control every variable, we begin to experience life more fully, with all its unpredictability and possibility. This mindset shift allows us to embrace the unknown and to trust that we are capable of navigating it, even when things don't go as planned. Letting go of control also means trusting others. In many situations, we may feel that if we don't manage every detail ourselves, others will fall short. We doubt their abilities and hesitate to delegate responsibility, fearing that if we don't oversee everything, the results will be less than we expect. But in reality, when we trust others and give them the space to take ownership of their roles, we create an environment where collaboration and creativity can flourish. People rise to the occasion when they are given the chance to step up and lead, and this trust strengthens relationships and builds mutual respect. The more we let go of our need to control, the more we allow others to step into their full potential, which not only benefits the group or team, but also fosters a deeper sense of connection and shared purpose. When we release the need for control, we also learn to become more adaptable. Life is constantly changing, and we cannot predict or control everything that happens. By embracing uncertainty, we develop the resilience to handle whatever comes our way. We learn that we don't have to have all the answers, and we don't need to always have a clear plan. Sometimes the best course of action is to take a step back, observe, and adapt to the situation as it unfolds. This flexibility allows us to respond to challenges with a clear mind rather than reacting out of fear or anxiety. It also fosters a mindset of growth, where we see challenges as opportunities to learn and evolve rather than threats to our control. Letting go of control also means learning to trust the process. In many areas of our lives, we are taught that we must work hard, plan meticulously, and push through obstacles to achieve our goals. While determination and hard work are important, there is also wisdom in understanding that not everything is within our control. Sometimes things need time to evolve, and forcing progress can hinder it. By releasing the need to control every step of the journey, we allow the natural flow of events to take place. This doesn't mean passivity or inaction. Rather, it means understanding that there is a rhythm to life that cannot always be controlled. And by trusting in that rhythm, we create space for things to unfold in the best way possible. In relationships, the fear of losing control can prevent us from fully connecting with others. When we feel the need to control every aspect of a relationship, whether it's the dynamics, the timing, or even the way others feel, we risk suffocating the connection and preventing the relationship from developing authentically. True connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is impossible when we are constantly trying to manage or manipulate every outcome. Letting go of control in relationships means trusting others to show up as their authentic selves, even when it's uncomfortable or unpredictable. It means embracing the uncertainties of human connection and allowing those relationships to evolve naturally, without the constant pressure to control the flow or direction. The fear of losing control is natural, but it often holds us back from experiencing the full range of possibilities that life has to offer. When we let go of the need to micromanage every detail, we create space for creativity, trust, and adaptability. We learn to embrace uncertainty not as something to fear, but as a necessary and valuable part of life. By letting go, we not only free ourselves from the paralyzing grip of control, but we also open ourselves to new possibilities, deeper connections, and a life that unfolds in its own perfect way. In embracing silence, stepping back, and letting go of the need for control, we find the courage to trust ourselves and others, creating space for growth, authenticity, and connection. By recognizing our inherent worth, choosing to remain patient, and allowing life to unfold naturally, we free ourselves from the constant pursuit of validation and the fear of uncertainty. These choices empower us to live with intention, to lead with humility, and to embrace life's unpredictability, knowing that true strength lies not in control, but in the quiet confidence of allowing things to be as they are.